I just want to summarize what I think we've heard in the session. Eric gave a wonderful introduction to the subject, and he pointed out aging is the strongest risk factor for age-related diseases, and aging is malleable and controlled by scientific pathways. And the most important notion that, therefore, if we target aging, not necessarily specific diseases, we can perhaps change medicine. And so changing our orientation towards managing and treating aging as opposed to the specific consequences of aging may give us a better bang for our buck, if you will, under the circumstances. The challenge, of course, when we're faced with this is what are the endpoints for aging? How do we actually conduct a clinical trial to target aging? And if it's really a matter of prolonging lifespan, well, that could take 6, 7, 8 years. It's not a practical clinical trial. So then the question is, are there biomarkers? They could be molecular, or they could be functional. And one of the comments that was made that I thought was critically important was the use of frailty, which, as Linda in her research has made that subject a measurable endpoint, and that there are elements of it that can be clearly defined and is currently serving as an endpoint for a clinical trial. That's really very important. It also points out that many of our insights on aging come from subhuman species, and therefore have extraordinary limitations. They can provide important insights, but ultimately it seems that we need human data. The human data can be whole animal human data, or maybe it can be done on human cells. This is one of the questions I was asking about whether it's possible. Don Ingber, unfortunately, we couldn't hear him, but he can create organs on a chip. And the question is, can we have aged organs on a chip? Or can we have gender-specific human organs on a chip? And they may provide us, at least at a cellular level, what we might not be able to see immediately in an intact human being. But it seems to me there's something to consider in that regard. We've described a lot of behaviors, lifestyles, factors that can influence aging, such as circadian rhythm or diet or exercise. Seems to me one of the challenges we have is to convert these insights into molecular mechanisms and understanding at a very basic biochemical molecular level what these problems, what these favorable lifestyle interventions translate to at a human biology, human cellular mechanistic level, so that intervention can be contemplated in a targeted way. And of course, this has been the way that treatments for many human disorders have arisen, starting with behavioral modification, but then ultimately going to be able to be addressed with a molecule on a specific pathway. Just take diabetes, for example. The original modification was eating less or eating less sugar. Now there are pathways that we understand where we can intervene and treat diabetes when, like all human beings, they have trouble limiting diet or limiting the intake of carbohydrates. And so we can address issues at a molecular level. There have been a lot of comments that I think are really important about the equity of interventions that are defined. How do we ensure that issues or opportunities are sufficiently available to everybody, that there is global equity in the insights and the solutions that we gain from the insights that we obtain in this area. We must always remember that there are fundamental gender differences that can define aging in different ways. Often, most of our insights are obtained without specifically addressing the gender issue. There are lots of new sciences that have been described. There's the issue about partial reprogramming, which is a very interesting emerging science. The lessons that we can learn about the mutation process in cancers and applied to aging, the use of mesenchymal stem cell infusions. These are interventions that are really emerging and ones that we can focus a lot of attention on over the coming years as they evolve and we gain further insights from them. I do solicit from you whatever suggestions or ideas that you think that we need to consider in the process as we complete our roadmap for healthy longevity. This is my limited summary of what we've heard and discussed in the past 2 hours. I really thank you all for your participation. Thank you, Eric, for the wonderful introduction and for the discussants who took active part in making important observations along the way. If there are other comments that weren't discussed or heard, you have the email address to which you can send most of these comments. This is healthy longevity. Let's see. Healthy longevity at nas.edu. Okay. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. We're going to take a 15-minute break, and we're coming back at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Taji, thank you for doing a great job. I thank all the speakers, panelists. Great job. Thank you.